Okay, in this video, you can see that this client has vitiligo. You can see the hypopigmentation in areas, but you also see areas of hyperpigmentation, slightly pigmentation that came back from treatments that she had done over the years, but she really wanted to address the hypopigmentated areas. There's a pigment mixture I made with my Permablend Scar set that matched the color, and I diluted the pigment, and we're matching the color now. I used the big medicine cap because I diluted that a lot because we're just going to do a light wash of color in the area. So I'm just trying to match the color in there now. So we're going to blot it. We're also going to let it dry on there for a little bit too, so you can see me kind of waving. That's going to allow the pigment to dry so I can see how it dries. If it dries too cool, I need to adjust the tone and see how it matches the skin in those areas. I like to take a Q-tip and really wash it over the area that I'm going to be working in and let it dry to see if it matches. So then I'll wipe the area off, and then we'll go ahead and start working. In this area, we're going to tattoo it in like we test it on the skin. So you want to make sure that you're applying the pigment the way that you test the pigment in there. You don't want to pack the color. You want to wash the color in that area because you won't really be able to tell once it's first done what it looks like. So I'll do a little area. You can see how I'm moving with my needle. It's really fast and overlapping so we don't get indications of dark areas and light areas. What I'm doing here is I'm just putting a little petroleum on the skin, which is going to help with the spreading of the pigment. And that really helps because when you're diluting pigment, the pigment can splatter a lot. So you do want to make sure that the area is completely covered. You can see I have a drape over her clothing. You want to wear a mask. You want to make sure you're wearing a mask. Everything's covered. The area is secure so you're not splattering pigment anywhere. It's a great way to make sure that you're not splattering pigment everywhere. So initially, as soon as you start to work, you can see a pinpoint bleed area. It actually will look very, very red. And that's because the pigment is so light in color and it's very washed out and diluted. This is just a disposable surgical marker. You can also do this where you're marking your areas, because what happens once you start working in the area is it will start to redden the area, so you might lose indications of where the hypopigmentation is versus where her skin is. So you can mark the area. This is another way of doing it, and then just let that dry, and then that will be disposed of. They have those in big packs where you can get the markers. I usually just do a dotted line area versus a hard line so I don't get the spread of the surgical marker over the area a lot. So I'm just marking the area so I can make sure that I cover at least the major areas of hypopigmentation. So I cover those areas really well, and I know where my border is, because you don't want to go into your border. You don't want to go into the natural skin tone. You want to go right up against that. So typically what I'll do is I move really fast up against the areas that are near her natural skin tone, so you don't want it to pull darker. Also, the areas that are darker in those, I will work around that, because of course if you put another layer of pigment on top of the dark areas, it will pull darker in those areas. So you do want to work, as much as possible, you want to work around those areas so you're not getting the spots that already are hyperpigmented or darker in those areas. You don't want to make them darker. So we're just going to do a light session on this, a light wash, see how the pigment heals, and then she will come back and we will assess the color and then add another layer. It's all about layering with these types of procedures to make sure that the pigment choice and color is right and it heals correctly and right, and you can always adjust the color and or add more where you need it. So you can see the pigment, the area that we did is just very, kind of just looks irritated. You're not having a lot of blood in those areas. It's not gushing or anything like that. But you can also see the splattering on my glove, which is what I was talking about. You want to make sure when you're diluting that you're really making sure that you have areas covered and that your face and everything is protected so you don't splatter it all over yourself, because this is contaminated ink. You can see how fast I'm moving. Now, you're going to work differently on different parts of her body. You can see that the vitiligo in her went from her neck to her collarbone to her chest. That means we need to work in all different depths in all different areas. So there you go. You can see that all the areas that we worked in are a little red, a little slightly swollen in some areas. Wherever the skin is more stretchy and meatier, it will swell up a little bit more, and that's absolutely normal. So you want to let them know that the skin will be red, and certain skin types will stay red a little bit longer, but it could stay red for 24, 48 hours, and you're going to give them a little bit of aftercare to keep on there. There, I'm just showing you the pigment, spreading it on the surface, you can see, and then we're going to go ahead and wipe that all off and give her the aftercare instructions so she can take care of this and have her come back after this is healed completely to evaluate and assess. We will be posting follow-up videos on this so you can see how this healed in her skin color-wise and how the edges look with the technique that we did along the edges also, because you do want to move a little different on the edges. So look for the follow-up video on this round 2.